Okay, so let's stay focused on that. But hey, listen, I don't want to take from our leader, from man, this great guy. Let me tell you, we are so honored to have Collis speak to us this morning, okay? Collis and his beautiful family. I mean, we got Brittany and their precious 4 little girls. These guys are legends in our company, okay? They're legends in our company, and he's a dear friend of mine, okay? Usually when I ask people to speak for us and, to come and speak, I usually tell them, hey, listen, I need for you to cover here. I need you to talk about this and that. When I ask Collis, I just say, Collis, just let it rip, man. Just share your heart, man. Share your story. Let us know, whatever it is, because we're on the same boat. We're making that run to $1 million, just like he is, okay? So, like-minded, we pull together, we're going to make it happen. But let me tell you, Collis, it's a legend in his own right. I know this guy is before Primerica, and I hope he shares that story. He was in LSU, top of the line, All-American. This guy was a basketball star. This guy was right in there, groomed to go into the NBA. Detroit Pistons had a practice with all these superstars, man. He did a phenomenal job. Not only that, but his dad, you talk about the lineage. His dad was also the first African-American to play at LSU and kind of opened it up for not only did his dad play, was a superstar, so was Collis, and his brother, Garrett. Garrett right now, went through LSU and also now is playing for the Chicago Bulls, man. This guy is, and Collis himself was going to the Detroit Pistons. So, or I don't know if I'm talking too much on that side right there. But winners are winners, man. He got injured, couldn't do it, but he just winners will figure it out a way to win, and he figured out that Primerica was his shot, and man, he is a superstar here. And I just want to let him know this. All right, Collis. Every person that has come talk to us has taken their income to over $1 million. Before Illich went over $1 million, he spoke with us. Before Chris Achong got to $1 million, he spoke with us. Glenn and Xiomara, they spoke with us. When they're right there hovering in the 800, 900, bam. I don't know what it is, man. We just gave them that touch, man, and they took it across, okay? So we're doing the same thing. Mallard's the same way. As a matter of fact, my great friend, Keith Phillips, the same way, just went over $1 million, 2 days ago, man? But he spoke with us when we were right there in that trajectory. So, hey, we're claiming it. We're putting our hands on you, man, and we're asking blessing for you and your family that you take it to the next level, because I'm hanging on with you, man, and we're going to take it across the finish line together, okay? So without any further ado, let me bring up the great Collis Temple. Come on, Collis.
Wow. What an introduction. I appreciate that. Trevor, I see you. I see you giving me snaps, brother. I appreciate it. So what I want to do is, look, Ed, that view, man, what in the world? Look at that. Where are you right now? You look like you in Florida or something somewhere. My Lord, it looks beautiful behind you. Is that a...
Yeah, look, this is home, man. This is home.
I'm about to say, it doesn't even look like a background. It's a background, but it's not like a virtual background. It looks like a virtual background, right? That's a beautiful thing. Look, we all aspire to be in situations where our real background looks like we're in a virtual background. Because I'm looking at Sonia Jones, and look, she looked like she already worth probably about $100 million on her page. Whatever she got going on, if that's her house, she is balling out of control already. If y'all look at Sonia Jones. So I hope you guys can hear me and see me. And I see Sheila Alvarez stealing time at her job right now, but I love it. I absolutely love it. Sheila's stealing time. She like, don't say it too loud. They gonna see me, right? I understand. I'm gonna stop talking about it, Sheila. So first of all, thank you all so much for thinking enough of me. Jackie, how you doing? Thinking enough of me. I love Zoom. I love that I can just see everybody's face and I can talk directly to you all because we are on the same trajectory, and so excited about what you guys are doing. So excited about what we're doing, and I'm bringing greetings from my family. Let me just show you all our family as I bring greetings to you all from them. Okay. And, we got Brittany, of course, my daughter, Monet, the oldest, she's 10. It's amazing how fast time goes. My daughter, Eden, who's 7. My son, Collis, who is 5. And then our newest addition, and you can see she is loud and ready. Britton is 8 months now and was 7 months here. So we are Happy New Year. And y'all, look, watch this. I'm going to start out with just straight fist to the chest, okay? Y'all do understand we're already a week into the new year. We're already 1/52nd through the new year. Now, I don't know if you've done anything different, right? But we're going to look up, Brian, and we're going to be 51/52 through the new year, right? And if you're not careful, you will have been in the same spot that you are right now. How many of y'all will admit you do not want to be in the same spot, Jessica, 51 weeks from now that you are right now? How many want to admit that? Does that make sense, right? None of us want to be in the same spot. So it's just like what Ed said, it's activity, it's action every single day. So I'm gonna run through a couple of things with you all. Obviously, I'm excited, just like probably any and everyone else, about making sure that we put ourselves in a position to maximize, right? Maximize what we have. And as I was kind of studying some things, there was definitely something that I wanted to congratulate on. I know that Eric and Ms. Ortiz went over the senior vice president, so I want to congratulate y'all on that. That's a big deal, obviously a huge deal, because that means they're promoting regional vice presidents, and then anyone else in the organization that did some significant things. Obviously, that's one that I just noticed and wanted to make sure that I acknowledged. But y'all, my name's Collis Temple, and I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the capital of Louisiana. Everybody knows about New Orleans, Louisiana, but I'm from Baton Rouge, the capital, born and raised. And my father was actually, as Ed said, the first African-American to play at LSU. Interesting situation. My grandfather wanted to go to LSU in the 1950s to get his master's degree. And you might be like, what does this have to do with Primerica? It actually has a lot to do with me, because before I digress and go back to this story, understand this, you all. Think about this, because this is a deep mental that we got to get fast, kind of free ourselves, okay? How many would agree that everybody will verbalize that they want to take care of their family? Everybody will verbalize that they want to not have to work until they die, right? Nothing that we do will anyone in their right mind say they don't believe in that. No, I mean, they can't say that. It doesn't make logical sense, right? So what we do is clear, it's obvious, it's easy to understand, right? The challenge comes when people put themselves in a position where they are a recruiter versus the person being recruited, because they don't see themselves like that, right? See, I'm gonna be honest. I went to RVP in about 9 months, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, okay? I went to RVP in 9 months, and in going to RVP in 9 months, I tell people I knew myself very well when I came to Primerica. Okay. Now, a lot of people think they know themselves well until they get here, and Primerica beats them up a little bit. And then they start finding out stuff about themselves that they would rather not know. Okay. And what they do is they quit and then blame Primerica for exposing things about themselves that they didn't want to know, exposing things about their friends that they would rather not have known, right? Because then that means birds of a feather, what, y'all? Flock together. And if my friends are like that, then that must mean that I'm like that, and I'm not like that. That's not me, right? So Primerica doesn't work. That don't work. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Right? See, Primerica exposes the inside of people, right? And the person that, quite honestly, is not the right type of person, rather than facing that and dealing with it, is going to say that something's wrong with the company. It's going to be something outward versus them making some changes inward, right? But the folks that make it here, that push through those challenges, that make the necessary changes, those are the ones that ultimately become the most successful because they're willing to look within themselves and change who they are or some different things about themselves so they can go to the next level. So going back, my grandfather wanted to come to LSU, right? Down in Louisiana, deep South, right? 1950s, to get his master's degree. Y'all know that wasn't happening, right? The state of Louisiana, all right, said, you can't come to school here. You can't come to school here. But what we're gonna do is we won't let you even pay your way to school here. We're gonna pay for you to go to Michigan State. You got to get out of here. Now he was a part of a class action lawsuit with Thurgood Marshall, okay, that was, trying to desegregate all of the public institutions. Because my grandfather said, I pay taxes, I do this, I need to be able to come to that school just like anyone else. Obviously, that was not what the state thought at the time. So he was in state, got his master's degree, came back and was a principal in Kentwood, Louisiana. That's where my dad and all my aunts and were raised. And interestingly enough, you all, not only did the basketball coach at LSU, but even more so, the governor of Louisiana in 1970 knocked on my grandfather's door and said, we want you to allow your son to integrate the program. We want you to have your son integrate LSU's basketball program. We understand what happened with you 15 years ago. We understand, but we want you to let your son integrate the LSU basketball program. My dad went to LSU. He was the first African-American, dealt with all type of, I'll say, interesting circumstances and situations, right? And that's why nothing that's happening right now phases him at all. He just like, yeah, okay, right? And so he dealt with all kind of different things, and but he persevered. He persevered, and his mentality was, look, you succeed regardless of circumstances, right? You don't say under circumstances, you just succeed regardless of circumstances, right? And he did that. He got a degree, got a master's degree, went on, he played in the NBA for a couple years, had a great college career, played in the NBA for a couple years. And then he moved back to Baton Rouge and he started raising his family. And I came and made a decision in 1999 to go to LSU, and I played at LSU from 1999 to 2003, and had a pretty good career. But I took advantage, and this is the Primerica point. Now, you all, what I do when I get the privilege of speaking, okay, and it is a privilege anytime I'm asked to speak, especially when Ed and Yvonne will ask you to speak. It is definitely a privilege. For them, especially at this point, beginning of the year. To me, this is a very, very, very big deal, and I'm extremely honored. I let Brittany know that I was going to be speaking for you all this morning, and she said, wow, that's a big deal that they asked for you to speak, right? And so we appreciate that. But think about it, you all. What I do when I speak is I weave Primerica principles throughout my life that really prepared me for Primerica before I knew that Primerica even existed. See, Art Williams said this: if you didn't go through something before you came to Primerica, you're going to have a tough time winning in Primerica. Now, you can win, but you're going to get beat up, right? Now, if you went through some challenges before Primerica, when you get here and you've kind of armored yourself, you'll be ready for the process. Does that make sense? Everybody's got to go through the process. Some people just go through part of the process before they get here. Does that make sense? And so they've armed themselves mentally, right? And they've armed themselves, we call it emotional maturity, to where they can weather the storm once they're here. Does this make sense, guys? Am I speaking to anybody here? Okay. See, if you haven't gone through anything or you don't know about anything and you come to here, you're going to get beat up. Right? And you either have to be extremely naive, okay, or oblivious, right? Or you ain't gonna make it, or tough. Naive, oblivious, or tough. Those are the type of people that make it in Primerica. Would y'all agree with me on that one, Ed? They either are naive, oblivious, or just tough as hell. Those are the type of people that win in Primerica. So listen, if you've been here for any period of time, then you are one of those things, Leighton. naive, oblivious, or tough. Now I said latent, so maybe we might better say ugly too, right? Okay. All right, but naive, oblivious, and tough, right? All right. So watch this, right? Obviously, I can say that because I'm just messing with him and Brian. Okay, right? So check it out, guys. I took advantage of being on scholarship at LSU. Just like I took advantage of the fact that when Primerica opened up the doors, they said you can go as fast as you want, get as much as you want. See, y'all, I'm the guy that if you took me to a buffet and you were going to pay, I'm going to get you your money's worth. Does that make sense? I'm getting you your money's worth. I can't stand those people that when they go to a buffet, if I'm paying for your buffet, look, you're not going up there one time. Does that make sense? I need you so full that you don't have to eat anymore after this, right? Why would we go to a buffet and you eat one plate, right? That makes no sense. We could have went somewhere else if we were going to do that, right? You need to get everything you should get, right? So think about it. I went to LSU, and y'all watch this. This is a Primerica point. First day of practice. During warm-ups, I got hurt. Now you got to understand, I was LSU's youngest ball boy and LSU's oldest ball boy. I just wanted to, I wanted to play ball at LSU and then go into the NBA and then be a businessman. That was like, I had my life figured out at 6 years old. I'm gonna go play basketball at LSU. I'm gonna go to the NBA and I'm gonna be a businessman like my dad. That's what I'm gonna do, right? It was already planned out the whole rest of the life when I was 6 years old, right? And I got to LSU. Now I'm 18, I'm at LSU. And you all check it out. This is another, I have these Primerica points all over the place. When you start winning, you heard what I said, not if, when those of you that make a decision to do the work start winning, there will always be those around you that make an excuse for why you're winning and they can't. Always. Does that make sense? See, while I was my senior year in high school, right, I learned that you better use the haters as motivators. You better learn how to use the haters as motivators, okay? Or elevators. Either way, right? Motivators are elevators, right? Right? But you can't give them any credence beyond that. You better use them as motivators or elevators, but you can't give them any credence beyond that, right? See, think about it. My freshman year in high school, I was about 5'7", 125 pounds. Believe that, right? 5'7", 125 pounds, right? But this is what I learned. I could only control what I could control. I could only control what I could control. So listen, I couldn't control the fact that I was scrawny, weak, clumsy. I couldn't control that. But what I could control was if I handle the ball and they can't take it from me. I might not be the quickest or the fastest, but if I can handle the ball and they can't take it from me, I'm gonna have a spot. If when I do this, it goes in more than somebody else, they're gonna have a spot for me. Does that make sense? See, I knew all you can control is all you can control. Now, y'all, I'm in the 9th grade. Didn't that sound familiar to something that we are taught in Primerica? All you can do is what? All you can do. But all you can do is what, y'all? Enough, right? See, I couldn't make myself grow, right? I could get in the weight room maybe, right? But I could control the things that I could control. Guys, I learned that when I was 15 years old. 15 years old. Through a completely different deal. So you say, well, how does that apply to Primerica? It applies, listen, you can't control if you can make somebody do what they need to do. You can't make them want to take care of their family. You can't make them want to put some money. You can't make them do that. Now you can be skilled enough that when you get in front of them, you give them the best possible presentation. You can make sure that you set enough appointments to where you'll find the ones that, but you can't make anybody do anything, right? You can control how many calls you make. You can control how many appointments you set. You can control how good your presentation is, but you can't control what people are going to do. Does that make sense, you all? So you got to control what you can control this year if you want to maximize your opportunity, right? So I actually did go 3 inches my sophomore year. I was 5'10", right? I grew 3 more inches my junior year. I was 6'1". I grew 3 more inches my senior year. I was 6'4". Now I had set a goal, if this sounds familiar, to make the varsity my freshman year. I set a goal to be an All-American and get a college scholarship, preferably to LSU, my senior year. And I was fortunate enough to be able to make that happen, right? And so when I got to LSU, I'm at LSU. My senior year, I averaged 30 points, 10 rebounds, and almost 10 assists a game. Yet when I got to LSU, right? So when you do the work to earn your RVP promotion, right? There were still people that say, well, you did this or that or whatever, right? Y'all, there were still people that said it was a legacy scholarship. I didn't really deserve to be at that level, right? So, and then I'm hurt, so I can't even prove them wrong, right? Primerica principle. How quickly do you bounce back from seemingly horrible circumstances? Primerica as a company is an amazing example of how quickly you should bounce back from seemingly horrible circumstances. Unprecedented pandemic. Unprecedented of any of our lifetimes, a pandemic happens. And we just commenced to having a record year as a company across the board. Unprecedented in any of our lifetimes. And we commenced to having a record year as a company. Now, did you have a record year? Did you personally have a record year? Right? So think about it, you all. I'm hurt on the first day of practice during warm-ups. I got a question, y'all. Who have you ever heard of getting hurt for the year during warm-ups? Right? Who gets hurt for the year? Who injures themselves for the year during the warm-ups? Right? I mean, that's like unheard of, right? But that's why I believe everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And so, y'all, while I was laying on the training table, and this goes back, I'm going to say it again, mental toughness, emotional maturity, right? Mental toughness, emotional maturity. I'm laying on the training table. They let me know what they thought was wrong, that I probably was going to be out for the year. And while I was laying on the training table, I literally came up with the idea that I am going to graduate in 3 years. Because I got to take, I got to take 100 hours. I got 140 hours, whatever it was, to graduate. And I kind of started literally adding it up in my mind while I'm laying on the training table, y'all. Now, all I've ever wanted to do is play basketball at LSU. I'm here now. This unfortunate circumstance happens, and my mind immediately goes to, how can I turn this into a positive? I got to make something positive come out of this circumstance and situation. What can I do? Well, I can focus on school. Y'all, I had taken 6 hours during that summer. I was in 16 hours that first semester. I took 19 hours the second semester. Anybody goes to college knows that's a lot of classes. Does that make sense? 19 hours the second semester, 9 hours that summer. Long story short, I got a degree in general business and having gone through finance and economics in 3 years while I was at LSU. Now, remember, I got hurt my first year, so I had to do what they call red shirt. I was out. I couldn't play, right? My freshman year plan, we went to the Sweet 16. I was sixth man on the team, and I started my sophomore, junior, and my senior year. Now, watch this, y'all. After my sophomore year plan, I already had a degree. I got 2 years of eligibility left, right? Then it became kind of a personal deal I wanted to get done because I was thinking, well, they didn't let my grandfather come to school here, so I'm going to get as much education and let them pay for it as I can. So I went and I got my master's degree, right? Now think about it. After my junior year, y'all, this is another Primerica point. Everything happens for a reason. My junior year, I'm working on my master's degree. Halfway through the season, I was leading the SEC in scoring and rebounding. And I had grown 3 more inches. So I was 6'7", 215-pound combo guard, point guard, 2 guard. And I already had a degree in hand, and I'm working on a master's degree, and I'm leading the SEC in scoring and rebounding. What was on my mind, y'all? What y'all would think was on my mind at that point? I'm out. After this, I'm going to holler at y'all. Let me go cash in on this deal, right? And that's where I want to tell you another Primerica principle. Don't read your press clippings too soon. Start having some success. Keep your head down. Stay focused on the issue at hand. Does that make sense? My goal is to become a senior vice president. Well, you understand if you're doing things the right way on the way to senior vice president, you're going to have some months where you're probably making $25,000, $30,000 a month. you better stay focused. Don't look. The goal wasn't, you didn't set a goal about the money. You probably going to set a financial goal, but the goal wasn't money. The goal was senior vice president. The goal was promoting 3 RVPs. So when you had those months where you're making 23, 25, 27, 30,000, don't get off because you still hadn't hit what, y'all? The goal. Does that make sense? You got to stay locked in, right? And so I ended up, guys, I'm halfway through the season, tore up my ankle again, tore it up, like messed it up. And I still came back like 3 games later, but I should not have. And I messed it up where I tore it in half and was out for the season, okay? So halfway through the season, I had to hang it up. But I did get my degree. I have my master's degree. And in my senior year, I was working on a PhD in education, just because. And after that year, I got picked up with the Detroit Pistons. Now, through all of these injuries, I've still got the opportunity. Had a great summer league in 2003, and everything was looking great until a month and a half after the summer league, right before training camp, I tore my ankle up again working out. Now, everything happens for a reason. Yo, I had a gentleman that asked me to come speak to some kids, sign some autographs, and take some pictures on a Saturday morning. And I had gone and done that. A guy who I kind of had known for a couple of months and had played pickup basketball with him. And after I signed those autographs for those kids at his church, he said, man, first tried to pay me. I wouldn't take any money. He said, well, let me take you to lunch. I said, okay, yeah, we can go to lunch. He said, look, man, I'm doing something part-time on the side. And I'm working with this guy that I think you know him because he's mentioned that he played ball with your dad at LA. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling y'all this whole story, and I just hear Edward say, it's getting so good. And I'm like, thank you. So how far, look, where did I get cut off at?
You're about to
lunch, going to lunch.
You're about
going
to
lunch, going to lunch. So the guy, am I still here? All right, going to lunch. I like to look at everybody. So the guy tells me, well, look, Bill Whittle is going to be at this lunch. Now, look, I don't know Bill Whittle that well. I mean, your mama could be at lunch. You paying for lunch. Cool. Okay, great. Bill Whittle's going to be at lunch. Okay. I don't know who this guy is. I mean, I just know he played with my dad at LSU. He was a year ahead of my dad at LSU. And I used to see him when he coached his son, who was a year ahead of my little brother. In summer basketball. So, I knew Blake from afar and I knew Bill Whittle from afar, but I didn't know these guys. Does that make sense? I mean, it wasn't like we hung out, right? But I knew them and I respected them and whatever, right? But I didn't know what they did. I had never heard of Primerica. So anyway, the guy says he's going to be at lunch. So I said, okay. Now that morning was Monday. Let me tell you how I remember it so well. Jackie, it was October the 20th, 2003. Y'all, at 6 a.m. in the morning when I got hurt. See, I was trained and taught by my dad. You can't get ahead standing in the bed. I learned when I was about in the 5th grade. Look, you better get up and go to work because somebody else is going to be working. And when they come across you, they're going to beat you. And I didn't want that to happen. So I used to, it became an obsession when I was in high school to beat my alarm clock up. Which sounds weird, but it became an obsession. But I got a question, y'all. Do you think that served me well when I got into Primerica? That mentality, does that make sense? The mentality served me well when I got in Primerica. So I show up. I mean, I get hurt. Now, y'all, watch this. I'm 23 years old, 24. I just turned 24. And my dream of playing in the NBA, that was the first day in my life that I realized I might not have a 10-year NBA career. All the injuries, all the challenges, all the stuff that happened, that was the first time that I was like, this might not be able to happen, right? I had surgery on my ankle my junior year at LSU. The doctor said, look, in 2 years, you might have to come back and do it again. It had been about 2 years. And I was like, wow. And I was on the bleachers because I was running stadiums. I used to run to the top of the stadium, right? 15 stadiums was my cool down after I worked out in the morning, right? So I literally broke down. I was boo-hooing, like not just like a tear. like coming down, snot, everything. Ugly cry. Does that make sense? And y'all, Primerica. Now, Primerica is coming at 12 noon. I don't know that it's coming at 12 noon. There's been about 6 hours in my life that I couldn't tell you exactly what I was going to do. I understand how much of a blessing that is, but there's been about 6 hours. Because I listen, watch this, y'all. This is another Primerica point. I don't even know in the natural why I kept the appointment. Think about this, y'all. How many times do y'all set an appointment and the person, you set the appointment and they dark screen you? Dark house, dark screen, same thing, right? And you get frustrated by that. See, some of y'all frustrated right now. I'm looking at Gail Nelson like, yeah, they dark screen me. No, let me help y'all. Listen, you need to thank them. Because what they're doing is telling you, listen, I'm not the one. I'm not a person of integrity. Listen, you set an appointment with me, and not only did I not show up, I won't answer your phone call. I won't answer your text message. I act like we did not have an appointment. That person is helping you. They are telling you before you waste time with them, don't waste time with me. I'm not the one you're looking for. Okay, great. I don't even have to make a presentation to you. You know what you should say? When you get next time you get a dark screen, say, thank you. When people get a dark screen with me, I tell them, you're on the right, congratulations. Does that make sense? Right? So check it out. We move on. I kept this appointment. Now, y'all, my whole life is like upside down, and I limped into this restaurant to meet with these guys at noon. Well, I'm gonna say it again. I don't know in the natural why I kept the appointment, but I obviously know that there was something set up that was at that meeting for me that I didn't realize that it was at that meeting for me. Y'all, I'm gonna tell you how unprepared I was. I had a sweatsuit on. This man said we going to lunch. Why I need to dress up? He didn't tell me that we gonna get in. Look, we sit down, we start talking. I'm like, this man seemed like he's trying to interview me. Stuff. I'm like, I guess they wanted to dress up to eat. So we sit down and we start talking, and Bill Whittle starts talking. Now, remember, y'all, I got an undergrad degree in business. I'm going through finance and economics. I got a master's degree. I'm working on a PhD. I'm kind of feeling myself, right? Jasmine, he starts talking, and he started explaining the rule of 72. And I said, I never heard of this. That's interesting, right? I got successful entrepreneurial parents. I got all these degrees, and I've never heard of this. Wow, I could really help some people with this stuff. I really could make a difference. Then the second thing that got my attention, y'all, the man said he was making $250,000 a month. Now, I have to put this in context, okay? I just have to believe that when Ed touches, hey, let me ask you, what's your Univi's best income month? What's your single best income month?
$72,000.
$72,000. Does that make sense? Now, let's be real. Tony, if you made $72,000 in a month, okay, I just believe that when you were explaining that to somebody, there would be an exclamation point and a real pause after you made that statement. Would that be accurate? How many agree with that, right? I'm like, look, last month I made $72,000. And then you got to look at them so they understand that was not a mistake. I didn't misspeak, right? That was not a year. That's 72,000. Look, Jasmine like, yep, I'm doing that, right? Let me help y'all. Look at this, y'all. Look, this man said he made $250,000 a month, and he said it in the middle of a sentence with no comma, no pause, just no nothing, just kept talking. Now, y'all remember on Charlie Brown when the teacher was talking and it was like, womp, 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 womp. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? I'm telling you, after he said it, I was like, his mouth was moving, but I was looking like 5 seconds, I'm like, bro, you got to go back. I messed up. I heard something wrong. I'm just making sure I heard you correctly. I literally stopped him. I said, Mr. Wood, I'm sorry. I need you to say that. I just want to make sure I heard right. You said $250,000 a month, right? Okay. But it wasn't even the money. It was the way he said it, because I realized he is not new to this. He is what, y'all? True to this. Does that make, like, this is what he does. Does that make sense? It was the nonchalant way he said it, just $250,000 a month, and kept on talking, right? So I said, I'm going to get to that point, right? Now watch this. And I still am not at that point. And our best month last year was 139,000. See, I still say it and pause. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. Does that make sense? I'm getting there, Leighton. I'm getting there. Okay. So he said that. And then the third thing that got me was when he talked about this RVP thing and getting and owning your company and helping other people do the same thing. He had me. Y'all remember on Jerry Maguire where the lady said, "You had me at hello"? I was done right then. I would have signed up then. But then he played me because he said, "Yeah, take this information and look at it and give me a call in a couple days." He was honestly kind of coming out of retirement, Ed, because Blake had just gone to college and he just kind of, but watch this. I took the information. Y'all know how it is, how it was when you was kind of starting to date a little bit, right? You know, he kind of puts it out there and then just kind of takes it away. And then you get the phone number, but I can't call tomorrow. I for sure can't call tonight. Right? I can't look like I'm desperate. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Some of y'all, I can tell some of y'all know what I'm talking about, and some of y'all, it's been way too long ago that all of that stuff was happening, right? So watch this, y'all. Check it out. She said, wait 2 days. Cindy said you got to wait for 2 days. Does that make sense? So check it out, y'all. That night, I read all of the information. Here's another Primerica point. Winners are chasers. I'm going to say it again. Winners are chasers. See, if you make a presentation to somebody and you email them some stuff and you got to follow up with them, if they haven't followed up with you in 2 days, that might, I'm not saying it's not the one, because we always hear those situations, people followed up and followed up and followed up. But listen, if you got to follow up with them, you follow up with them in 2 days and you say, "Hey, listen, have you had an opportunity to take a look at the information?" "No, I've been busy." You broke. Busy being broke? What you mean you busy? Does that make sense? Right? So, I mean, what you talking about, right? Winners are chasers. Y'all, I read all the information. I couldn't go to sleep that night. And you got to realize that morning, I had just gotten injured. I just come to the realization that my NBA career might not look like I wanted it to look, guys. I've been going after this since I was 6. I'm 24. It's an 18-year journey. It's coming from the summer league, and I can't. Y'all, I read everything. Y'all remember the thick How Money Works book, the green one that was like 50-something pages? How many of y'all have been around that long? You know what I'm talking about. Not the green skinny one, the green thick one. You know what I'm talking about, Ed, with the small print in it, not the big pictures, okay? All right? I read the whole book. I read the whole, like, because Whittle used to give a binder that was like as thick as this senior leadership thing. And I read all of the information in there. And check it out, Ed. I couldn't go to sleep. And I woke up at 3 a.m. and I woke up at 5 a.m. and I knew I couldn't call him at 5 a.m. And then at 6 a.m., I was like, it's probably too early now. And then at 7 a.m., I said, he's a successful businessman. He's probably awake. But watch this. I just told you, you can't, if you get the phone number from the girl, you can't call her the next day. So how am I going to call him and act like I'm not that interested? Does that make sense? I can't play it cool calling somebody at 7 a.m. in the morning, right? So I called him at 7 a.m. in the morning. I said, I glanced over the information. I think I'm interested. And he said, he already knew he had me when I called him at, literally, it was 7 o'clock on the dot. Because I was like, all right, I can call him now, right? Okay, right? And so look. Then he said, well, yeah, okay, we can get together this week. I know the whole time he was just stringing me along. Does that make sense? I said, hey, what you doing today? Does that make sense, right? And he says, yeah, so we set an appointment. We went to lunch again. He paid for lunch. And that's when he explained what it took to go to RVP. Now, he told me 18 to 36 months. Most people do it in 18 to 36 months. I looked at him, I said, I'm gonna do it at 9. He ain't explain what it took. Yeah, I went RVP in 9.5 months. And I'm gonna tell you something, the Primerica point, it only takes about 6 to 9 months to go RVP. It might take you 12 years, but it took you 11.5 to figure you out. And then it took you another 6 to 9 to go to RVP. I'm gonna say it again. It only takes 6 to 9 months to go to RVP. It might take you 10 years, but that's because it took you 9.5 to figure you out. And then another 6 to 9 to go to RVP. Y'all with me on that? Okay. And so I went to RVP in 9.5 months. Y'all, and we went out doing about 35,000, 30 recruits. Which was not like earth shattering, but at the time we were top 5 in the country as a regional leader. And I was 24. I was 25 when I got the day I got promoted, and made 21,000 in my 12th month in Primerica. Now, watch this. We go back 3 weeks after I signed up, my agent called me back. Even though I had called him a week after I signed up and said, listen, I appreciate it, man. I had already signed a contract with the developmental league in the NBA, y'all. And I had to call him and ask him if they let me out of the contract. The man, actually, I remember his name. His name was Chris Alpert. He was running the NBDL. I said, if you help me out and let me rescind my contract. He said, you're the first person ever to sign a contract with a developmental league with the opportunity to play in the NBA and ask if you can be let out of the contract. It was like the second or third year the NBDL had been open. Because I found Primerica, and I realized it wasn't that I didn't love basketball. I just realized that I was probably not going to be able to compete at the level that I wanted to based on something that I had no control over. And so I had to make an adult decision, or am I going to excel doing something that I can do for the rest of my life? Or am I going to be hobbled around and hope that I could do this just because I don't feel like I can do anything else, y'all? And my agent called me 3 weeks after I got started. And he said, listen, I know you're excited about Primerica, but I got a deal for you. We found a deal. I had told him I was done. Now, my dad called me and I was going to licensing class. I'm going to licensing class, y'all. And he says, listen, Collis, I think you, now I got my parents, the day I said I wanted to join Primerica, this is what they said. This is successful entrepreneurs for you. My dad said, you're going to help a lot of people. You're working with a great guy and a great company. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to need a Brinks truck to carry all the money you make. Go get it. That's what my dad said. Successful entrepreneur. My mom said, as long as you got basketball out of your system, whatever you decide to do, you're going to be successful at it. Congratulations. Successful entrepreneurs, right? Why would we take advice from people whose life we don't want? I don't understand that one. See, let me help you. See, my mom is an amazing businesswoman, but if I get stopped, if our car breaks down on the side of the road, she's an amazing mother and a phenomenal businesswoman. My car broke down, if I called my mom, it was strictly to let her know, Mom, I broke down. This is where I'm located. I'm not gonna say, if she just started volunteering, well, look, Kyle, this is what you need to go do. Go pump go pop the hood of the car. I'm gonna be like, Mom, what the hell are you talking about? Pop the hood for what? You're not about to explain nothing to me. You know nothing about vehicles. What is my point? Why, Mom? I just told you my mom is an amazing mother and a phenomenal businesswoman. Those are things she knows a lot about. Motherhood and being a businesswoman. She don't know nothing about being a mechanic. I'm not taking her advice in that arena because she has no frame of reference. So why are you all taking advice from people that have no frame of reference in business and success like you want? To me, that's obvious. That don't mean that she's not an amazing mother. That don't mean that she's an amazing businesswoman. That don't mean I don't love her. That just means this is not your lane. Stay in your lane. Does that make sense, y'all? Am I helping somebody here? Okay. Because you like, I want to go get some advice from them. For what? They're an employee, they make $40,000, $50,000. I just want to know what they think. Why? Why you need to know what they think about this? They don't know about this. Does that make sense? Okay. So then we move on. And y'all, we then proceeded to get to about 570,000 my fifth year in the business, fifth or sixth year by 29. At the year I got married. I had met Brittany the year before. We got married. And then we started building our family together. And a couple years ago, and I honestly, I kind of took my foot off the gas. You know, I wish I could tell you that I didn't, but I did. I was 29. When I say I took my foot off the gas, I still probably recruited 2 directs a month, but it wasn't like, because guys, I'm gonna tell you what I did. I recruited 48 people my first year in the business and 50 directs my second year in the business. And the reason I know you can go to RVP in 6 to 9 months is if you recruit 4 people a month, one's going to quit right away. One's going to talk a great game and quit in 2 weeks. One's going to love the environment, show up and not do a lot, but might bring you to somebody and might over time become a player. And one's going to go to district in about a 3 to 6 week period of time. So if you're going to build 6 to 9 districts, you're going to be an RVP. Because I built 9, 3 of them quit. I had 6. We were running 35,000, 30 recruits. I was doing about $8,000 to $10,000 every month. I was recruiting 4 people a month. We had a team that was rolling. And we were in a very fortunate situation where I had a great replacement leg, which, by the way, Bill Whittle has promoted in his hierarchy 25 RVPs out of my replacement leg. Yeah. Okay. Now, you know, we 3 years ago, we had the opportunity. We were asked by two different. Somebody passed away, and then somebody else ended up getting fired, and we ended up taking over their business. So we now own 3 different Primerica codes. On all 3 codes combined, we make 1.1 million. Okay, but you know the company don't count that. So I got to go get it on one. Does that make sense? So we're gonna make sure we get that done. But you all, just 3 common denominators, and then I think I've already gone way over my time. But 3 common denominators, okay, are coachability, focus, and work ethic. Coachability, focus, and work ethic. Okay. And if I may, let me pull this up real quick. We're talking about coachability, focus, and work ethic. I want to pull something up so you can kind of get an idea, if you guys can hear me, of what we really have access to. I know y'all can't see me right now. I'm going to pull something up, and I want y'all to, all right, so. So y'all, I've kind of already gone through my story. I told you guys that I hadn't quite finished that last part, but I told you my agent offered me an opportunity. I was going to licensing class, y'all, and I actually got offered $200,000 to go play ball in Italy. And they had the ticket ready. And I'm going to a licensing class, y'all. And I actually turned it down. I said, no, I'm going to go on and do this. This is what I'm going to do. I turned down $200,000. They were going to pay for a house and a car in Italy for a year and allow me to rehab. And I turned it down because of my belief that where I was and what I was doing was what I was supposed to be doing and where I needed to be and where I could make a real difference. So I say that not to brag, but just, you know, I don't know what you're holding on to or what you're clinging to, but I know that I had an opportunity to do something that I loved, but I knew that it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. And I knew that I could make a bigger difference if I was sold out to this. And so I made a decision to sell out to it. And obviously it's paid off. And so I was letting you all know we own 3 different codes. We we are in a situation now where we're talking about making sure that the three, I was bringing up actually the three common denominators. And so starting there real quick, and then I guess, I mean, if you want to do the question and answer piece, we can, but think about this, y'all. Coachability, seeking out the help, accepting and internalizing the coaching, doing that, and then some. Those are the three parts of real coachability, guys, okay? The first one is seeking out the help. Understand this, y'all. God puts the grapes in your reach, not in your hands, right? I'm going to say that again. God puts the grapes in your reach, not in your hands. You've got to make the effort. Does that make sense? You got to make some effort. If you're waiting for somebody to bring you something all the time, you're going to have a tough time being successful, especially in this business. Especially when you think about the fact that you got the app, you got Primerica Online, you got SoundCloud, you got everything. You got access to everything. You could be in the middle of a desert. As long as you had Wi-Fi, you could be successful in Primerica, okay? But you got to be willing to go look for it and go search for it. And let me tell you, the first example of me searching for success was when Bill Whittle was explaining to me how to go to district, and he wasn't trying to blow me out the water. It was like, yeah, we need to get on 3 appointments a week, and it's going to take about 6 weeks. And I literally stopped him. I said, no disrespect, Mr. Whittle. I'm like about to put down a dream. I need you to tell me how to get there, get to where you are as fast as possible. That was me reaching. That was me seeking out the assistance. And he smiled and he told me, okay, you need to put me in front of 30 people in the next 30 days. Got it. So then the second part is accepting and internalizing the coaching, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's inconvenient, even if it's not really what you wanted to hear. Accepting and internalizing the coaching. Because it's easy to take the coaching when it's what we wanted to hear, but when it's not what you really wanted to hear, you can't go ask somebody else. You already said that this was going to be the person you were going to be coachable to, right? All right. So then the third thing is doing that and then some. Why would I volunteer my time, effort, energy, thought process to coach you, and you don't take any action on what I say? And then you come back to me and say, all right, what do I need to do now? The same thing you haven't done yet. The same thing I told you last time to do. Do that and then above and beyond. Prove that you're not in vain. Does that make sense? That's what coachability is. See, let me help y'all. Y'all, check it out. Just getting on this Zoom don't mean you coachable. Y'all hear me? Just getting on the Zoom doesn't mean you're coachable. It's a part of it, but it doesn't mean you're coachable, okay? Right? What action do you take after you get off the Zoom? That's what'll illustrate and show how coachable you really are, all right? But then the second thing after that first piece of coachability is, where are we at? The second one after that first piece is focus. Focus. So let me pull that one up real quick. Focus. All right. So look, life happens to everyone. Distance to RBP is the same, a daily planner. Life happens to everyone. Okay. The distance to RBP is the same for everyone, and the daily planner's role. So what do I mean? Life happens to everyone. Life is up, down, in, out, hot, cold. Life is life. And when I say life is life, people tend to think negative. Life is good. In the midst of all, what? I promise y'all, how many of y'all would never have guessed that Kobe Chadwick Boseman would have not made it through 2020? Who would have guessed in January we would have had an international pandemic that affected the world? See, it wasn't like Cindy, where do you live right now? Unmute yourself, Cindy. Where do you live? Oh, you can't. Y'all can't unmute yourself. All right. Well, wherever you live, guess what? The pandemic didn't just hit there. Y'all with me on that? Ray, you can't say, oh, well, you know, I had the pandemic, so I couldn't be successful this year. No, well, I mean, everybody in the world had the pandemic. Does that make sense? Right? Does that make sense, y'all? Right? It would be easy. That would be a very legitimate excuse if you were the only one that had to deal with the pandemic. Would you be, was that right, Miss J? If you were the only one that had to deal with it, they would have to kind of deal with that one. Does that make sense? But since everybody had to deal with it, and then in Primerica, folks actually went the opposite way, you can't use that excuse. Does that make sense, y'all? We can't use, none of us can use that excuse, right? Right? So think about that. Think about that, right? And so, Eric, think about it. We go to that next thing after coachability and focus, right? Y'all, right here, you got to better lock it in. Listen, guys, life is going to happen. Crap is going to happen. Can you stay focused in the midst of good stuff? Y'all, I got an 8-month-old child. That means that she was born right in the middle of the pandemic. Y'all got babies. I'm looking at the Solomons with that handsome looking brother right there. Look like he's trying to take over his mama's phone, right? Everybody, right? We all got kids. And you'll know when they're 7 months and 8 months, Jason, you just want to, Does that make sense? Right? You better take your behind out of that house or go in your spot on Zoom and get the job done regardless. Does that make sense? That's a good thing. Good things can knock you off focus. Bad things can knock you off focus. You got to be emotionally mature enough, poster, but better stay focused because it's the same distance, 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months. Okay. So we got that. And then listen, I don't know what you're using. I don't know if you're using a daily planner. I don't know if, but you got to use some form, Ellie, of mechanism to keep you locked in. Some form of mechanism to keep you locked in. I use a daily planner. Okay. Goals and affirmations. Listen, I hope, Mr. and Mrs. Solomon, that you guys are giving your son affirmations. If I took my son, Eric, and I put him in front of the screen right now, or either one of my daughters, not my 8-month-old, because she can't talk yet, but all the rest of them, all right, they would say what they are. They'd say, I'm a leader, I'm a champion, I'm a winner, I'm a child of God, I'm a genius. And I never give up. Now, I came up with like 4 or 5 of those. But after my oldest daughter got about 5 years old, she started understanding what we were doing. And she came up with 2 of them. She came up with I'm a winner. And she came up with and I never give up, which at first it was others' esteem. But once she understood what we were doing and she came up with 2 affirmations, now all of a sudden it becomes what? Self-esteem, because she understands what she's saying, right? Y'all do understand that all we're doing when you do goals and affirmations, writing it down in the morning and at night is you're brainwashing yourself. I'm just trying to brainwash my children. Now, how many admit it's tough that you need to wash your brain? You need program, and if you probably already started that process. Okay, but how many some work? Right? How many of y'all still got some work to do? I have to improve and change and grow and go to the next level. Do that. It's going to be tested. I agree that, look, watch this, y'all. Check this out. Sierra, tell me if this makes sense. As soon as you make a decision that I'm going to get my physical together, I'm going to get it together. That's when somebody offers the thing you love the most that is the opposite of what you should be doing. Chocolate damn ice cream. Oh, damn. Does that make sense? That ain't gonna help me. Does that make sense? How many of y'all know what I'm talking about? Right? As soon as you decide, Willis, and oh, that's my man. I'm a spotlight Willis right. Does that make sense? All right. So as soon as you decide that you are ready to go to the next level, some crap gonna come in the way. Y'all do understand it, right? I'm telling you that now. Just because you decide I want to go to the next level, that don't mean that it's going to be a free ride and it's just going to be straight focus. No, a whole bunch of crap going to come up. You got to win in despite of. in spite of that, okay? All right? And so after we go coachability and we go focus, then we go to the last one, work ethic. Go to the last one, work ethic. Kristen, you can't get ahead staying in the bed. Ms. Bradley, you cannot get ahead staying in the bed. You better get up, go to work, because if you, listen, you got to earn the right to be successful, y'all. You know this already. I'm not telling you anything that's new. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. I'm just reminding you, right? The title of my book, Like a Slave, Think Like a Master. You got to go get it, guys. You got to go get it. Pay now, play later, or play now and pay forever. I'm going to say that again. Pay now, play later. Or you can play now and then you're just going to pay forever. 90% of people are dead broke, still having to work at 65 years old. So you can be like everybody else. You just do what everybody else does. Or you can put yourself in a position where you separate yourself. So I have talked for too long, but I am going to stop now. We've gone through coachability, focus, and work ethic. I've told you our story, and we have an amazing opportunity to do some special things. And obviously at the beginning of the year, hopefully this has been helpful. So Mr. Ortiz, I'm throwing it back to you, brother.
All right, man. Awesome job, man. Wow. Listen, it was so powerful. I had to go and change my hat. All right, just to let you know on that one, you know. But listen, man, hey, listen, the 30-day planner we use, guys, we use the planner that was developed by Bill Whittle and also Collis Temple. They're the one who came up with this 90-day planner. The 30-day, the planner that we have, that the company had, it came from this organization. All right. And that's so powerful. But one of the things that you said to me, which was so powerful, is that it's so important what you tell your kids. Because this is about, you can make as much money of it, but it's about making an impact. It's about making an impact in that next generation and those generations to come. So it's very important. And Collis, your parents, hey, awesome. Because that's how we were brought up, man. We got to bring our kids up, okay? We got to do that, and it's awesome. And the 30-day by 30-day, 30 names and 30 days, guys. We have that sheet, and you guys probably seen it. This also came from Collis, okay? This came in where we said, hey, listen, if you do 30 names, 30 presentations in 30 days. I mean, you just prime your business where it's gonna from there are the results that's gonna come out of it. He made RVP in 9 months. I'm telling you, if you do that here in 2020, you start off the month in January doing that. By the end of this year, man, you're an RVP, okay? And you're en route to making 100,000. If not, you're already at 100,000 by that happen. Also, so I really appreciate you being on the calls. Also, guys, for those of you who don't know, if you want to learn more about Collis, this guy's he's an author. He's got his own book. All right. And you got to check this book out. Collis, can you share a little bit, think like a master? What's the name of the book? And kind of just, where can we get it? And
Work
so
like
forth.
a slave.
If you do this, man,
Work like a slave, think like a master. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon.
And say it again.
Think somebody. Look, Joe, I need to use Joe as my publicist.
I got you right
here, in the chat. Joe, I need to use you as my hype man.
Yeah. Look at Eric. Eric's got it too. Look at Eric. Eric's showing the book.
Got it right here.
Got
an authentic signature too on it.
Yeah,
right,
Eric. Here we go, baby.
There you go. And then, hey guys, pick up that book. Because it's so awesome, man. I cannot tell you, man, I filled up this page with nuggets and all that, man. And I just appreciate you being on the call, Collis. I thank you so much. You have brought so much to the table. You have blessed us, man. Your wisdom, everything about you, man. I truly, thoroughly appreciate that, and I thank you so much for everything.
Thank y'all for having me.
Anything we can for you, we're here. All right, guys. So that's what we got for today, man. Hey, listen, remember tomorrow we got David Leon. Okay, David Leon is going to be awesome presentation as well, man. Let's go make this thing happen. All right. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and sign off. Here we go. You ready? On the count of three. On the count of three, let's go. Everyone out there, unmute yourself.